Good morning, Kathy. Thank you for taking some time out and getting involved in our Business Owner Spotlight. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do?
Yes, thanks. Hi, good morning. My name is Kathy McKenna. I'm the Managing Director of a company called Global Home Warranties. We're based in Portadown, but we cover the whole of the UK, Northern Ireland and GB. Primarily, the company is a warranty company. It's very similar. Most people maybe would be aware of NHBC. If you're buying a property, a new build home across the UK, you must get a 10-year warranty on it. Okay. My company provides that 10-year warranty. So effectively what we do is we go out, we employ a team of qualified building surveyors, and part of the process includes going out and inspecting from foundation right through to completion that your home is being built in accordance with the proper building regulations, etc. Once it's signed off, the insurer then takes up the 10-year policy, and if there's any issues regarding defects in the property, then a claim can be made then to the insurer. So that's basically the bread and butter that we do. We also do home buyer surveys and clerk of works and different works like that, tenders in Dublin, etc. But our main focus would be the 10-year warranty.
So and would you sell that to the home buyer then, or does that stick to the builder, is it?
Yes. Our core client would be developers and contractors and builders. We do also deal a lot with solicitors and architects, but generally speaking, 90% of our clientele would all be developers who are going out building one-off homes to large-scale 1,000+ apartment blocks, right across the UK.
And it's obviously, it must be to protect the developer and then the owner of the home ultimately.
Primarily the homeowner. Effectively, that means then when you get your home, now snagging is a different thing. Sure. The developer will also be responsible for the first 2 years to make sure any snagging issues are addressed. Yeah. But a major defect can actually be very, very expensive. If you had to replace your roof, for example, or if there was an issue with water ingress. So effectively having the comfort, the home has the comfort of this policy, whereby if a defect is established and it's deemed to be an acceptable defect under the policy, the insurer then steps in and gets that remedied for you. Yeah,
and that obviously, I'm assuming, sits outside your home insurance then?
It does, exactly. Yeah. We wouldn't cover home insurance areas, and it doesn't cover us. That's the way.
Of course, yeah. So massive peace of mind then for years on your new property.
It is, and it's also really like a semi-legal requirement, because no mortgage lender in the UK will lend to someone buying a new build home unless that new build home has the benefit of a 10-year warranty.
Yeah, so sounds like a no-brainer. And as you say, mortgage companies going to want that in place. So mainly developers then you would want to be speaking to. And how long have you guys been going for?
Since 2011. We established here in Portadown in 2011, so we've been going 13 years now. So yeah, we're well established.
Yeah, and what's that been like for you? How's that? How's the journey been since 2011?
I think any business owner is going to say the same, ups and downs. There really has been. We started the company. First of all, we were made redundant from a previous position. Okay. So the company, I'll be honest, wasn't planned. It was really very much the insurer had said, "Do you want to take this on? Do you want to start it again?" We had about 3 hours to make up our minds. There wasn't too much due diligence or business planning done, to be really honest. Okay. But it worked out great. We knew what we were doing, and we set it up very quickly here in Portadown, and literally with very few staff, no IT connections. It was a baptism of fire, I think, is the best way. But since then, there has been ups and downs. For a couple of years, it was quite difficult. We were working in Republic of Ireland prior to Brexit, and at that stage, it was the crash had happened. So we were dealing a lot with distressed properties. So that was our clientele at the start. Then Ireland back on its feet again, and it was fantastic. Then Brexit, and it wasn't fantastic because we had to leave Ireland. So we have had a lot of ups and downs over the years. But a big thing is basically to hold our own is coming down to the team. We have an exceptional team here in the company.
So the people are making the difference for you. And you've talked about ups and downs, but those ups and downs were totally macro and outside your control. So
yes,
it's really been how you've had to just deal with them then.
Pretty much. When you do your SWOT analysis, you can only prepare for so much. And Brexit yes, we knew it was coming down the line. But again, I don't control the legislation, and if I did, it would be different, believe me. But it happened, and we physically, our insurer physically, just could not trade in Ireland anymore because they weren't allowed to passport in because of the European law. The rules when Britain left the European Union, it lost all those rights. So our insurer was a GB-based insurer, so they just couldn't trade, which means that we couldn't provide the service to the clients in Ireland. So we're still actively looking to move back into that market again.
Yes.
But really, our bread and butter now, and with complete sole focus, is the UK market.
So just, you've had a major market just literally taken away from you. Like, obviously you focus on the UK market, but how did you? What did you do? How did you actually react to that?
A shock.
Yeah.
We had a lot of planning. We had to start looking at alternatives, and that's what we did. We looked at diversification. I think a lot of companies need to do this too. We were complacent for quite some time, and we did that lesson because warranty was our bread and butter, and it was great, and we didn't have to think too much about it. We knew it. We excelled in it. We were very good at what we did, but when we lost that in Ireland, we then had to diversify. So we looked at doing home buyers reports because we have a really qualified surveying team right across the country. But what we have gone into, which is something we have really quite happy to move into, is tenders. We did a lot of work with councils in Ireland, looking at private rental properties, conditional surveys, and we found a really niche market there. So we've basically expanded our workforce now in Ireland. Whilst a couple of years ago we had to reduce it because we didn't have the work for the people, but now we've actually expanded it again to take on new jobs.
So what happened? You got complacent and you were just maintaining, but now you've had to move outside your comfort zone. So if you do get back into the Irish market, when you find that insurer, you'll have a stronger, more diverse business then.
Yes, very much so. And I do think that has been a learning curve, I think, for us here in the company. Complacency, I think maybe we're guilty of, and maybe some other companies could be the same. And I do think when you get to be good at something, you just sort of try and just keep on doing what you're doing. But sometimes when you're hit with a challenge that really is literally beyond your control, you need to think outside the box. And we looked at the skill set that we had here. We looked at what we could do in those markets, and we identified that there was a huge need for us, and we've basically cracked into that now.
So, back in 2011, you had 3 hours to make up your mind. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, to be honest. And you decided to go with it with a small team, but it sounds like you've got a reasonably sized team now anyway.
We've over 30. We started off with 5 of us.
So what's it been like for you as a leader then to start and lead a team of 30 people?
Well, management team, setting up a really strong management team has been essential because the first number of years I was everything. I was HR, I was basically office manager, I was managing director, I was working in finance, sales, marketing. You wore every hat, and I think every business owner has to.
Sounds very familiar,
Very has to. But when you start getting bigger, you realize that you just cannot do a good enough job in all those areas. So you have to look at expanding your team. One thing we have found is having really, really good team, like middle management. Our middle management team basically become our team leaders for all the different areas, surveying, admin, accounts, etc. And they literally look after the workforce. So I don't really have to anymore. Like things like hiring and recruitment and things like that. We have a dedicated HR department looking after that. Our sales team is looked after by our head of sales and marketing. So we've had to expand, and by doing that, we look to get the right people in the right job to look after the growing company. And so far, it has worked wonders. We really have a team that if I was to disappear off the face of the earth tonight, the company will flourish.
Keep going,
absolutely.
And that's where you want to get to. And when I speak to business owners like yourself, it is a common thing: get the right people in the right place as early as possible. But if you take yourself back to when you started to grow that team, did you have any nervousness or trepidation about giving that control away? How did you overcome that?
I think speaking to family and friends and other business leaders, I do think, one thing I have learned as a lesson over the years is that, you might think you know everything, but you really don't.
Yes.
And asking for help and asking for a bit of advice. And we have worked over the years with BDO, has been our professional advisors, great like personal friends that are solicitors, and just having a chat with them, saying, we're thinking of doing this. What do you think? And just even been signposted in the right direction. Reaching out to people who know things. I am a firm believer, if you're going to employ somebody, make sure you employ somebody who knows more than you do.
Yes.
Because you want them to come in and grow the business. You want them to bring their skill set. There's no point bringing in somebody who knows less than you, because you're just going to go out in circles.
Yeah.
And that's really been the biggest learning curve, is making sure you speak to people, you get advice, and that you don't feel you have to do it all on your own.
Yeah, and again, looking back, that's what, as you say, it's been brilliant so far. But I think a lot of people they're worried actually to bring somebody in better than them, because it's just giving that massive control away to somebody who's better.
Yeah, that can be, I think a lot of people feel threatened if you're bringing somebody in, but I think an awful lot of it is too. We've been very lucky in having personalities. The greatest will in the world, you might have somebody come into a company that has, on paper, might be the best ever, but when they actually come in, they may not gel as such. So having people that really gel with the rest of the team, having the ability to be having open and frank conversations, not feel that you have to hide or you're afraid to put your hand up. We welcome people challenging us. We welcome the team saying, well, no, Kathy, I think you're wrong. Have you thought of this? And what we try to do right across the board in every area is get people involved and ask them for their input. Because something that we might have thought of, somebody else might have thought of something completely different, and it actually works. And that has happened over the years.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're prepared to, as you say, you don't know everything, so you're not trying to be right every time. You're genuinely curious to what the team know and how they can help.
Oh, completely, because they have the skill set. We've got people who are qualified building surveyor, right through to a qualified CIPD, HR manager. We have an insurance guy here that heads up our head of sales. People with the skill sets and qualifications that I don't have.
Yes.
And when they all come together, they complement each other.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant example of just getting out of the way and letting people do their job brilliantly, and then you lead the team then. And it hasn't happened overnight, but it seems like a brilliant example of that. So what does the next 5 years look like for you guys, and what do you see as the main challenges moving forward there?
I think, well, at the end of the day, I think we're again pretty much the mercy sometimes of governments and policy and interest rates and things like that. But if inflation can hold, and I believe it's come down this morning there, that anything like that, those external factors have a huge effect on my day-to-day running. Simply because our guys that we're working with all depend on home buyers. So effectively, if the market remains buoyant and if there is a reduction in interest rates, you will see a lot of people looking to move. And new build homes automatically do attract predominantly first-time buyers, but also then the high-end homes. You're talking people moving up through the ranks, so to speak, of their houses. So literally, we're hopeful that if the interest rates can hold and come down, that will see a lot more confidence in the construction industry.
Yeah.
And as long as there's no more regulatory red tape coming through, we've had issues in the past where some things have come in and laws have changed and people have been quite reactive. And a lot of developers have told us, well, when Liz Truss was in power, and basically her mini budget nearly put them out, wiped them out of the face of the earth. And when you have developers that won't register next phases, well, that impacts on my company, because I depend on those guys on the ground building. And if they're not built, I'm not going to be putting warranties in place. So a lot of it is construction confidence, and the more confidence that there is, and I think the Labour government has really come in and focused a lot on housing, and that's essential. We see that day in, day out. We do a lot of work with social housing bodies right across the UK, locally here, the likes of Clonmel, etc. We see the huge urgency in social housing.
Yeah.
And that needs to be prioritised, and the people like ourselves are happy to engage and help where we can. We have a skill set, not only doing the warranty, but we do clerk of works. We can do private tenancy inspections, conditional surveys on existing stock. There's loads of homes out there that need to be brought up to speed, brought up to code, and I think that needs to be focused on too, just to address the homelessness in every region of the UK.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So look, one question I always like to ask everybody, and the answers are always interesting. If you could go back in time and speak to like an 18-year-old Kathy, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to her?
Oh, wow. It's quite a few. I think not to doubt yourself as much.
Yeah.
I think when you're 18 years of age, I know I was, you had like a sort of an imposter syndrome. I just literally had gone to university and was finding my feet, first time leaving home. Yes, loved it, had a great time, did Law of Queens, spent 4 years there, brilliant, fantastic. But yeah, it did allow me to grow. But even then, when you're so young, you're nearly comparing yourself to everybody. I think the years, what I would say to myself is, you know, enjoy it a lot more, not to be so focused on end goals, because end goals can change. You know, at the end of the day, I didn't go into law. I moved into business, did a law degree, which, don't get me wrong, was fantastic and it's really good stead, but didn't go in and actually practice law. So I think an awful lot of it I would say to myself was, don't overthink. Live a wee bit more. I think 18 goals, and I look at nieces and nephews, and I really would say the same to them. Don't overthink, you know, what degree do I need to get? What college do I need to go into? You know, what you think that you're going to achieve at 18, 36, 46, 56, it could be completely different. And, you know, and that's the joy of it. You know, I have to say the journey sometimes is as much fun. Planning is essential. You just can't float through life.
Yes.
But I would definitely say not to be so focused on what you think you want to do at 18, because sometimes it doesn't work out.
But what I'm taking from that is just actually to back yourself and have a bit of fun and live a bit more.
Big time. Yeah, I think so. Believe me, when you hit your 50s, you have a lot more less.
I think people, you know, certainly myself, not even need to hear that, not even at 18, just maybe need reminded of that more often. So no, brilliant piece of advice, Kathy. Really enjoyed hearing about your business. Sounds like a flourishing business, really exciting, vibrant place to work and doing great things, going from strength to strength. So look, thank you for sharing your story. Some great advice in there, and I can't wait to share it with everybody else.
Thank you very much.